Sorry, it's just taking a second to get over to Facebook.
Is it okay for us to talk while you're doing this?
I would hold off or.
Okay.
Can y'all hear that buzzing?
A little.
Yeah.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Faircount's inaugural stop on the iCount virtual bus tour. We are elated to be partnering with the Latin American Association to bring this important discussion to you this afternoon. In March, Faircount launched a statewide bus tour aimed at bringing awareness to the 2020 census and to mobilize Georgia residents to complete the 2020 census. Within a few days, we had to suspend that tour due to the global pandemic. However, our outreach for the 2020 census has continued virtually and digitally. We were slated to make 2 stops in Whitfield County, specifically in the city of Dalton. So we are here today to make those stops virtually. In addition to this event, our team across the state of Georgia will be texting and calling into Whitfield County to remind residents and encourage them about the importance of the 2020 census. As of this morning, Whitfield County had a self-response rate of 52.1%. Dalton City had a self-response rate of 48.9% compared to Georgia's self-response rate of 56.7%. So you can see we have a little bit of work to do. So let's get to the conversation today. We have some really great community leaders from the Whitfield, Dalton area with us today. So we're excited about the conversation that we're going to have today. I did want to let everyone know that we will be taking some questions from the Facebook Live comments. So if you have questions, please make sure that you put those in the comments regarding the 2020 census. Today's conversation will also feature a dialogue both in English and in Spanish. I would like to first introduce our special guest from Whitfield County. Eva Rodriguez is the manager of the Latin American Association Dalton Outreach Center. Thank you, Eva. Tom Pinson is the director of the Mac Gaston Community Center located in Dalton. Thank you so much, Tom.
Thanks.
Manuel Manny Meza is a local businessman and domestic violence counselor. Thank you so much for joining us as well. So we really appreciate you all taking the time out of your very busy schedules with so much going on to join us for this very important conversation this afternoon. To get the conversation started, I'd first want to turn to Eva. You and I have had the pleasure of working together and partnering for some months now. Prior to COVID-19, Faircount partnered with the Latin American Association to bring the internet and Chromebooks to your office so that some of your clients were able to apply for census jobs, but they were also able to complete the census online using those devices. Tell me a little bit about why the LAA has made the 2020 census such a priority.
Again, thank you, Ed, for having us on here, and thank you for the opportunity. It is a priority to the Latin American Association, the conversation of the census and the importance of the census, because of the clientele that we serve, or because of the population that we reach. Our population and our clientele are considered the underserved, and the underserved fall in the many categories that the U.S. Census Bureau has identified as difficult to count or hard to count. Some of those areas are families with children that are from birth to 5 years of age, families that are migratory that move often, families who are in overcrowded housing, for example, families who may have limited English language skills, the individuals who are low economic status in our areas. And we also have to think about rural Georgia, since we are in Northwest Georgia, and the difficulties that brings for families, especially because this is the first time in the history of this country that the census is online. We know that families in rural Georgia clients that live in rural Georgia that we serve have difficulty having access to the internet. So that is why, many more reasons why it has been a priority conversation for us, because every dollar counts. And when everybody is counted, because we all are important, we all count, and every dollar comes into our community, we as an organization receive federal funding to be able to continue to assist our clientele and the demographics that we serve. So that is why this is such a huge conversation for us, Ed.
Thank you so much, Ava. I'm so glad you talked at length about the financial, mechanisms and the funding that comes. That is certainly very important, particularly to the communities in which you mentioned. Next, I want to go to Tom. You and I have not had the opportunity to meet in person, but we've met several times virtually. So thank you again for joining the conversation today. Fair Count was scheduled to have our bus pull up at the Matt Gaston Community Center in April, but obviously we're not able to do that. I was really looking forward to that particular stop, because we heard that your center was the place to be in the afternoons and evenings specifically. So hopefully we'll be able to do that sometime in the future. But you mentioned that the center, just opened back up to the public in a social distance manner earlier this week. Can you talk a little bit about how the COVID-19 pandemic has impacted direct services for the community center?
Well, Ed, you said, well, first of all, thanks for having me to be a part of this discussion. But you said that we're the place to be afternoon and evening. Sometimes I feel we're the place to be morning, afternoons, and evenings, all the time, that this is the place to be. And like Eva and the LAA, we were scheduled to receive Chromebooks and to provide services to assist in completing the census for the citizens of our community. But we were also going to provide childcare services and both bilingual services for those who came up here to who needed assistance in filling out the census form. And hopefully we can still provide those services once this COVID thing gets over with.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tom. Really appreciate it and look forward to partnering in that way. Next, I want to go to Manny. Manny, thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. You certainly are a trusted leader in the Whitfield Dalton area. You're a part of several organizations and initiatives throughout the greater Whitfield area. You could be spending your time, particularly right now as a local businessman, on a lot of different things. But why have you made the 2020 census such a priority?
Thank y'all. Thank you for having me. I think it's an honor and a pleasure. My family, personally, me, we moved here from California in the mid '90s. So I've been part of seeing this community, this county grow, specifically with immigration, specifically talking about Hispanics or Latinos or Latinx. And the climate around our country right now is very divisive, unfortunately. And I want to be part of something that shows that we can be united. Specifically speaking about the census, having the citizenship question. My wife and I, we personally filled out the census on through the mail, and it was very easy to do. A lot of times that document that you receive in the mail will kind of be pre-filled out once you go into the online part of it, and it was very friendly user or user friendly. I'm sorry. So I just want to show that we do need to be counted. We have to be counted. As a community advocate, I think about the single mother that has 2 or 3 kids, that has a couple of jobs, trying to make ends meet. And like Ava was saying, this is resources for our community, for our kids, and pictures like that come in my mind, and that's why I want to be part of it. I want to give back to a community that has nurtured me as a youth, as an adult, that has nurtured my business, and I have the heart to serve, so I wanted to serve.
Awesome. And I don't mean to go into ages here, but I remember you saying earlier that, even you grew up with Tom's kids. So Tommy's kids are wonderful. They're great athletes.
I don't have a jumper like his son, or that handle like his son, man. But he was gracious enough to allow me on the court, play with him, and that's what our community is about. I'll kind of dig into that a little bit. So our community shifted from, and I hate to say this, but I'll say white people and black people to a lot of Hispanic people. And, I have received a lot of, gracious just embracement from individuals in our community that are non-Hispanic. So, there's two sides to that, but most of the, most of the experiences that I have been great experiences. And I just want to show that, we're all in this together. And those of us that are in a position to help, those of us that are in a position to give out information, I think it's our responsibility to do it. I think it's our responsibility to want to do it. So, I'm here. I'm here to help.
Thank you so much, Manny. So just as a reminder to those that are tuned in on our Facebook channels and watch parties that are happening across the area, you can post your questions, and we'll be able to take a few questions probably here throughout the conversation. But now I'm going to turn to Ava, and she's going to have a little bit of a conversation and dialogue here in Spanish.
Thanks, Ed. Manuel, ya en la conversación mencionaste la pregunta de la ciudadanía. Y esa pregunta sabemos que no es parte del cuestionario, no es parte de las preguntas que nos va a hacer el gobierno, el censo, por medio del censo, pero en parte sabemos que todavía vemos un impacto, todavía vemos cómo ha impactado esa pregunta, ese miedo que hay en nuestra comunidad, en la comunidad Latinx. ¿Me puedes dar tu perspectiva, lo que tú piensas, cómo nosotros, como latinos, Latinx, como comunidad, podemos seguir compartiendo, educando, asegurando a nuestra gente la importancia del censo y más importante, que sus datos, que su información está protegida?
Claro, Eva, te agradezco mucho por la pregunta y mira, desgraciadamente en nuestra cultura existe ese ambiente de temor a qué es lo que va a pasar o qué es lo que no va a pasar. Existe de cierta manera ese nerviosismo de no voy a llenar esos documentos porque el día de mañana va a venir un oficial a tocarme y a querer llevarme a mí o a mis hijos o a mis familiares. O el gobierno de esta manera ya va a saber en dónde estoy o para dónde me voy. Es más profundo que eso. Tenemos que entender que este conteo del censo es para poder hasta cierto punto dar recursos a la ciudad o a la comunidad o al condado de donde uno vive. Y nosotros tenemos que entender que vamos a tener que mejorar nuestras perspectivas de cómo vemos este censo, de cómo vemos este conteo. Me pongo yo a pensar que muchos de nosotros somos de familia numerosa, tenemos 3, 4, 5 chiquillos o hijos, y algunos de nosotros vamos a necesitar de esos recursos que van a ser dados a nuestra comunidad, que pueden ser para el SNAP program, para el WIC program, para algún otro beneficio público, también para las escuelas. Entonces, considero que nosotros tenemos que poner esa perspectiva de que puede ser fondos que nosotros, al no contarnos, al no escribir nuestro nombre, al no ser parte, al no participar, pueden ser fondos que perderíamos porque no tenemos el conteo adecuado para nuestra comunidad. Por ahí he visto yo algunas cifras de que somos como un 35, 36% de hispano-latinos aquí en nuestra comunidad de Dalton, Whitfield County. Yo pienso que somos más. Pienso que andamos cerca de los 40 y tantos, si no es que a lo mejor hasta el 50%. Entonces, tenemos que estar dispuestos a hacer una sola voz y contarnos para que así de esta manera podamos recibir fondos adecuados para el tamaño y el espacio de nuestra comunidad.
Sí, muy bien, Manny, muchísimas gracias. Y también quiero añadir, antes de regresarle la conversación a él, que hay leyes constitucionales, perdón, que protegen a la información que nosotros damos, a los datos que nosotros le damos al censo cuando llenamos el cuestionario. Ed, I was just sharing briefly, Manny gave a beautiful explanation to our Latinx community that, you know, there are legal constitutional laws that protect the information that we provide to the census, the data that they will be receiving. And one of those is Title 13. And so just again, reiterating the importance of the protection of that information. And so I'll hand it over to you now, sir.
Thank you so much, Ava. Thank you, Manny. We appreciate that. I want to turn, back with the dialogue and conversation to Tom now and talk a little bit about the Matt Gaston Community Center and some of the funding streams. You know, the 2020 census will direct $1.5 trillion annually to communities across the country. In Georgia, it's estimated for every person that's not counted, we lose $2,300 per person, even up to $3,600 per person in some estimates and reports. When thinking about federal programs like WIC, SNAP, Head Start programming, school lunch programming, and more than 300 others, how could having a fair and accurate count in the Dalton community provide additional services? Also at Matt Gaston, understanding that the center includes a space for WIC, a health center, and also an information center for the Dalton Police Department.
Exactly. And I think the point is being not counted or being undercounted. And when we get undercounted, the community actually loses, and that loses those very much needed services like what you mentioned, WIC, food stamp program, our summer feeding program, which feeds probably over 10,000 to 12,000 lunches during the summer. And it also comes down to funding. And when the funding is cut, services are cut. And without having those services, we lose out on what the community actually needs. And one good example of that is when the state of Georgia cut funding for the WIC program. And we lost our WIC program here at the community center. We served over 2,600 families. And now those families have to find some way to get up to the other office, to the health department. And one of our other problems here that I think that we discussed a little earlier was that we don't have public transportation. So that causes another problem. And so when people start getting counted, and when the count is actually accurate, all those funds that we can get for public transportation, for a WIC office here on this side of town, all those things come back. And that's what happens when we get undercounted.
You brought up so many excellent points, and that connection between being not counted and then looking at the services that a community does not have. So thank you so much for articulating those that are on the ground there. Manny, I want to go back to you just a little bit here, and I think that you and Ava actually worship at the same place of worship, but outreach to faith communities has really been an integral part of our programming. We have a really large faith department. Doing a lot of things, even in the midst of everything that's going on with the pandemic. What type of outreach and services has your place of worship been offering, particularly in the Whitfield area?
Absolutely. So we attend Rockridge Community Church, and our church is known for being active and being advocates in our community. One of the things that we did is we hosted in our facility, or one of our facilities, the recruiting event, and I don't remember exactly when it was, but it was in December of 2019 for the census staff or the individual from the census. We've also through this pandemic continued to do our food drives, which are done, or food drops, which are done usually on Saturdays, and they're specifically done in one of the local high schools here, usually in the parking lot, or at the community center, or in some of the also local elementary schools. We partner up with other organizations like Dalton Greater Works, DACA. DACA kind of provides a little bit of relief for individuals that are struggling with paying their their rent, their water bill, things like that. Sometimes individuals will come to us with things like, I don't have a kitchen. I'm not a kitchen. I don't have a stove, or I don't have a refrigerator. So again, we'll partner up with other entities in our community to try to give as much help as possible. And I could probably go down the list. We do stay pretty active in the community as Rockbridge members.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for adding that in the work that Rockbridge is doing. And I know about the recruiting event that took place, earlier. So thank you so much for the continued outreach. Ava, I want to talk a little bit more about the Latin American Association there, knowing that you're managing the Dalton Outreach Center, which is relatively new, I believe, to the Whitfield area. Can you talk a little bit more about the resources you offer on a daily basis, particularly now in this virtual space? And I know you guys are teleworking, but how are people accessing the services that you continue to provide?
Right, absolutely. Thanks, Ed. So I'm happy to say that we celebrated a 1-year anniversary, the 1st of May, in our community in Dalton, Whitfield County, Northwest Georgia. And so we are very excited to see what's to come and to see our growth, because we know that we have made an impact. We have made a footprint in our community, and we have been able to do that through a very special team at one of our 5 focus areas that was initially established when we opened the office a little over a year ago, and that team is the Family Wellbeing Team. And their goal is to assist clients to have a stable, healthy home. And that team provides benefit enrollment. That team provides referrals to other organizations, why it's so important for us to have partnerships and collaboration. That team also provides financial assistance, maybe rent assistance or utility assistance. And as we have grown over the year, we have reached to a point where we're now receiving additional funds so that we can continue to provide more services and expand the services that we have for that particular team. Another focus area that we established throughout the year was our immigration team, our immigration focus area. And that team so kindly helps me and supports us here in Dalton virtually by providing consultations, legal consultations virtually, and consulting with clients that are referred to our office and come to our office. And last but not least, recently, this spring, we were able to begin the process of establishing a 3rd focus area, which is our education area. And we will be providing a pilot mentoring program with Morris Innovative High School, along with the collaboration with Mohawk Incorporated and Dalton Utilities. And so we're excited for that as well. I know that, folks are probably wondering, well, how are you guys still, going to do all that? And how are you all still working? Because you are a direct service provider and you do see clients one-on-one, in your office. So our team, in all reality, we are already remote. We are a part of our Buford Highway office and our Gwinnett office. And so we were already structured as a remote location within our organization. So it was pretty easy for the Dalton staff and I to begin to work remotely from our homes. Of course, going through the glitches and trying to figure out things, but I think at this point, the team has done an exceptional job continuing to serve families that call us who are in need of services or need referrals. And we have a fully bilingual team, and that is a huge asset for us in this community because clients know and confide in us that they're able to reach out to us and to the team that we have here with Family Wellbeing, and they can, be taken care of in their own language. And so that is part of the success that we have had over the year, being able to reach over 7,900 people. We've served, 366 households. We've also been able to establish and continue to grow over 60 community partnerships. And so, we impact families, we impact individuals, and we impact our community. And that's what we want to do. The LAA has always been a voice in the Atlanta metro area, in the office in our in Gwinnett County, and we will continue to be a voice in Dalton and continue to be the voice in Georgia, so that we can continue to provide these services for the demographics that I spoke about earlier.
Thank you so much, Ava. So you guys have a lot of work that you're doing and will continue to do even amidst everything that's going on. So thank you so much for that, and thank you in advance. So I've been doing a lot of asking of you all this afternoon. So I want to kind of really open it up now for our three guests here from the Whitfield area. You know, I recognize that you all are on the ground every day doing the work. You know, so I'm hoping that you can just give, you know, just a minute or so of perspective about, you know, you're born in the area, you grew up in the area, I know some people have moved to the area. Just talk a little bit about what your perspective and the uniqueness.
Well, I think the gentleman will say ladies first. That's been the custom here lately. So I will speak as an outsider coming in. I have been in the Dalton Whitfield community, Northwest Georgia, for a little over 18 months now. I'm still the new kid on the block, but I feel very welcomed in this community. We have, again, 60 plus partners that have reached out to us, that we've reached out to, that we have connected with, that are helping us serve. But personally, Whitfield County feels a lot like the home that I left when I left Kentucky to come to Georgia to take on this position with the Latin American Association. And this is a community that not just likes, but they love. There's a desire, there is a passion to give, there is a passion to serve, there is a passion to do. I mean, during COVID, we have really seen what our community is about. And I even brag in our leadership meetings with the organization during the week and share with our leadership team how well Dalton Whitfield County has carried themselves and carried the community during COVID-19, during this pandemic, because there's a multitude of services and resources here, and everybody, for the most part, is willing to collaborate and work together for the betterment of our community, to help those that can't help themselves, and then to help those that are helping others. And so that brings a smile, not just to my face, but to my heart, because I'm passionate about serving people, not just Latinx, but serving people in general. And that's what this community is about.
Thank you so much. Which one of our gentlemen are going to be?
Well, Ed, I'll go if it's okay with you, Manny.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Senor Pinson.
Ed and folks, I was actually born here in Dalton, in this area. I grew up some in this area. I wasn't actually raised here all my life, but we came back here in the summer because of the people and because of all the great things that were going on here in Dalton. But I actually moved back to Dalton after I finished college. And one of the main things that brought me back to Dalton was that the services that they provided for the kids. And I think Manny mentioned that a little bit earlier. We are probably one of the only communities in Georgia that actually provides recreational services for youth here in our community free. And that's all youth: basketball, football, baseball, soccer, now lacrosse. But of course, lacrosse, you have to buy some equipment. But most of the sports that are provided here are for free. And at the community center, what we provide is for the entire family. But when I'm here, I tend to focus on the youth. When we get back to the children, that actually helps them to grow. And when they grow properly, they can provide that, we can give them that proper foundation to continue the growth and to continue to give back to the community. And when they get back to the community, it makes the community a better place. And Manny also mentioned earlier, when I was here in the summer, it used to only be black and white, but now our community has turned into a multicultural community. I think I heard earlier that there's over 16 different countries that have businesses and are represented here in the Dalton community. And that kind of speaks well to our community, because we welcome everybody that comes in. And as Ava said earlier, during the COVID, we've been awesome here in Dalton. So I think just being in this community is special. And I think that was one of the things that brought me back here after I finished school.
Thank you so much, Tom.
That's awesome. Awesome. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you, Eva. Um, I consider myself a Daltonian. I'm 40 years old, but I moved here when I was right around 16, 17 years old. And, the demographic was different back then, as far as ethnicities.
Mhm.
But, in today's day and age, I do feel that sense of community around us, or around, our employees, employers, business individuals, the school system. I think that we all try to do the best that we can with what we have. And I do feel like, as a community as a whole, we are doing the best that we can, and we are doing a good job. I feel like our local rec department provides a good platform for parents and kids to engage in healthy activities. And all of that, helps us mature as parents, helps our children, continue to build good, strong character and good moral values, because we can participate, we can be part of it. The fact that it's free, allows, like I was talking about, I would think about a lady that's got several different kids and is trying to make ends meet. It's important for our community to have activities for our children. It's important to allow us to grow and to participate together. So I feel like overall we give that a priority as a community. I feel like overall we also have a great sense of hard work. I think about certain areas in our town, in our city, that are full of businesses, and a lot of them are Hispanic owned or Latinx businesses. I was fortunate to be part as a real estate agent to help some of those businesses buy their location, go apply for business licenses, different things like that. And I'm not saying that only Hispanics have. No, we all have businesses. White, black. We have learned to thrive together, and that's what I get from my community, from this community. That's why I'm proud to call myself a Daltonian. I met my wife here. All my kids have gone to school here. When I was back in California, I think I went to like 5 or 6 different elementary schools. That was rough. That was rough for me. Here, I've been able to call this a home. All my kids have gone to the same, public, Dalton public schools. They got the same friends that they've had since they were in Little League, or have been around the same kids. And to me, all that is positive. To me, all that is good, to build a community, to build a family up. So that's my perspective of Dalton.
Well, I appreciate that. All of your perspectives were great. And a couple of things I will just sort of piggyback off and follow up here on. I think Manny talked a little bit about the unity. I think that message of unity is more important. Now with everything that's going on with the recent events,
Mhm.
in particular. So I really appreciate you bringing that sense of
Mhm.
unification to this conversation, but also to something Tom said, going back to the connection to the census. With the ability of the city of Dalton to provide those free services, right? If people are not counted in the census, and the city is losing funding for other essential services, that may create a loss of these free services. They have to.
Exactly.
So
Mhm.
it certainly is an important message for people to know that we can provide these free recreational activities, but you have a duty and responsibility to do too, in order for us to continue to provide that service. So I really appreciate all of those perspectives, particularly in this conversation. I'm going to turn back to Ava now. You're going to do some more dialogue here in Spanish.
Thanks, Ed. Manuel, otras preguntas para ti. Sabemos que no ser contado en el censo del 2020 tiene efectos muy significados para nuestra comunidad, para nuestro condado, para el estado, para el país entero. Pero sabemos que como latinos, la comunidad Latinx tiene un afecto diferente, y quiero que tú me expreses en tus palabras cómo tú ves que eso va, ¿sabes? Go ahead. No, go ahead.
So, una de las cosas que yo considero, ¿verdad? Y más que nada yo me considero una persona íntegra, me considero una persona digna de ser hispano, de ser americano, naturalizado, pero me siento con dignidad de poder decir eso. Y una de las cosas que a mí me gustaría que entendiéramos es los números muestran específicamente a nuestra comunidad que somos menos de los que realmente somos. Si nosotros podemos estar dispuestos y tener el valor de contarnos, de apuntarnos, de registrarnos, entonces la comunidad entera se va a dar cuenta cuántos realmente somos y se va a dar cuenta que aportamos, se va a dar cuenta que pagamos impuestos, se va a dar cuenta que participamos en actividades, se va a dar cuenta que somos normales como todas las demás personas que están en este país. Y se van a dar cuenta que a una sola voz podemos unirnos todos y no tener miedo de ser contados. Porque como tú lo dijiste, Eva, hay ciertas leyes que protegen nuestra identidad, nuestra información, y esto más que nada se va a utilizar para dar recursos a nuestra comunidad y a todas las comunidades, ¿verdad? De acuerdo a su estado, a su ciudad y a su condado. Pero más que nada, yo veo esto como una oportunidad de unidad para nosotros como latinoamericanos o hispanos. Una de las cosas que se me viene a la mente, lo platicábamos ahorita en inglés, es que algunas de las actividades del área de recreación, de los parques de recreación aquí localmente, por lo general provee muchas de las actividades sin ningún costo. Si algunos de los recursos esos son retirados, entonces de repente nosotros como padres vamos a tener que empezar a desembolsar para pagar para muchas de esas actividades. Yo he sido partícipe de estas actividades con mis hijos y por lo general se les da uniformes, se les da equipos, se les da muchas cosas para que puedan desempeñar esas actividades. Me pongo a pensar que en mi caso, que yo tengo 4 niños, si yo hubiera tenido que pagar por 4 uniformes cada temporada, 4 diferentes materiales de equipo cada temporada, a lo mejor no hubiera podido solventar eso. Pero como ya hay ciertos recursos dados por el condado, por la ciudad, para ese tipo de actividades, es importante que sepan que somos más, para que no vayan a achicar o no vayan a quitar ciertos fondos que van para ese tipo de cosas. Y de nuevo, eso nada más es uno de lo que, de lo que pienso o de lo que se me ocurre, pero hay muchas otras cosas, tal vez que tengan que ver con cuestiones de salud, cuestiones de mantenerse, como lo que es el WIC, como lo que es el SNAP. O sea, todas esas cosas tal vez son más esenciales para familias que nada más el papá trabaja o nada más la mamá trabaja, o sea, que dependen de su, ahora sí, de que su diario vivir o de su comida de la semana, dependen de estos recursos. Entonces, es importante que perdamos el miedo y que nos unamos a una sola voz y que queramos ser contados.
Sí, muy bien, Manny. Muchísimas gracias. I couldn't have said it any better, Ed. This is the importance of being counted. And, you know, the Latin American Association, we will continue to be a voice. And part of our voice during this time is for those that do not yet have the opportunity to vote, you have an opportunity to be counted. You still do have a voice in our community. So, you know, the importance of being counted for the census is huge for our communities, as Manny just so beautifully explained to our Spanish-speaking audience. Ed?
Thank you so much, Ava. Thank you, Manny. Again, you know, so to close out today's conversation, I wanted to, you know, end with the fun activity, and you all kind of touched on this a little bit in your previous responses, but you know, in 60 seconds or less, so give your Whitfield County Dalton pitch to someone who maybe is looking to move into the area. What makes it special to you in 60 seconds or less? So we're going to go to Manny first.
Thank you, Ed. I think diversity, man. I think diversity is a champion. You know, I'm a man of faith. I know this is not a religious class, but I truly believe that our community, is a forefront for what heaven will be like, because we have, like Tommy was saying, 16 different ethnicities or countries represented in our community. Black, white, Arab, Hispanic, Latinx, Asian, and then forgive me if I'm, saying it wrong, but I think that is great, man. I think that is awesome. My kids went to an elementary school that had pretty much the same description that I'm saying, and they all thought, they were all brothers, and I didn't tell them any different. I was like, yep, we all brothers. We're all the same. So that I won't go over. I'm hoping I didn't go over.
That's perfect. I'm going to turn next to Ava.
Thanks, Ed. So in 60 seconds, wow, why Whitfield County is so special to me. Whitfield County is special to me again because Whitfield feels like home. It feels like the home that I left when I left Kentucky to come to Georgia. Whitfield County is special to me because they have embraced not just me as an individual and a leader in this community and a voice in this community, but Whitfield County has embraced the Latin American Association. I have had individuals to tell me, why has it taken y'all so long to come to Northwest Georgia? And of course, back to the conversation that has to do with funding. We are an entity that receives federal funding, and if we are not appropriately accounted for in this country, then that declines the funding that we receive and the services that we're able to give to our communities. And so the support outside of federal funding in this community is unreal. We wouldn't be here in this community if it were for other entities that have supported us long before we opened the doors. And so just the support that we have here is what I love most about Whitfield County, Dalton, Georgia, and the diversity. I go back to Manny. The diversity here, it's beautiful. You go to an event downtown Georgia, Burr Park, and you feel like you're in Atlanta Metro, but you're still in Dalton. And so that is the exciting part. And I feel, for the audience that's listening to us, for our friends all over Georgia, don't underestimate Northwest Georgia. Don't underestimate Dalton, Whitfield County. There's a lot going on here, and we welcome anybody that wants to hang out with us or come live in this community and serve and do like the rest of us do.
Thank you so much, Ava. Close us out here, Tom.
First of all, Ava, I think that was longer than 60 seconds. I'm not really sure. I'm gonna have to put a timer on you over there. But no, what both of you guys said is exactly what makes Dalton and Whitfield County a special place. And I think you actually have to come here to really experience what we are really talking about here in Dalton, because a lot of times I tell people when I go to different places how great Dalton and Whitfield County is. They say, well, I heard it's not that nice up there. I say, well, you have to come. Being in the mountains is a different place. One good example is that we have a recreation conference, and every year the conference goes to places like Savannah, Athens, Macon, like to the big cities where all the excitement is. They came here one time, and they've been asking to come here every year since then. They've actually been here twice since they came one time. But I think the best thing about Dalton is the tremendous services that they have for the kids. Manny and I have already mentioned about the recreational services. The summer feeding program is awesome. Not only in Dalton, but that's all over Whitfield County. That's probably all over the state of Georgia. But here in Dalton, it's actually special because they also provide reading services for the kids. They give them free books along with their lunches. The employment opportunities, I think the employment opportunities were greater than they are now, but I think it's slowly coming back. Our great schools, and most of all, the great people that make up our community. I think that's what makes Dalton a special place.
Thank you so much, Tom. And now I'm going to hand it over to Ava to give some contact information in Spanish.
Thanks, Ed. Muchísimas gracias a aquellos que participaron con nosotros en el día de hoy, con este evento, a aquellos que asistieron vivos con este evento. Le quiero dar la información a la comunidad Latinx, cómo usted todavía puede participar en el censo por teléfono Usted puede llamar el 1-844-468-2020 y esa es la línea para aquellos que hablan español, para recibir la ayuda, para llenar, lo puede llenar por teléfono o puede pedir todavía que le envíen el formulario en papel a su hogar. Otra vez más, las personas que hablan español pueden llamar la línea del censo para ayuda en español, que es el 1-844-468-2020, igual en línea o web. Uno también puede ir, yo lo hice en web, en línea, 5 minutitos me tardé, a lo mejor un poquito más para aquellos que tienen más miembros en su familia, pero la página del web del censo es el www.my2020census.gov, www.my2020census.gov. Ed, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much. And again, I want to thank all of our special guests. It's been great to get to know you more, and I look forward to continuing to work with the three of you. On behalf of Fair Count, we would like to thank you for joining today's conversation. Also like to thank the Latin American Association for their partnership with our inaugural stop on the iCount virtual bus. Our virtual bus will be in Whitfield County all day today. Again, I mentioned our field team is going to be blitzing in terms of reaching out to not only Dalton residents, but residents across the entire county of Whitfield to ensure they have the importance of the 2020 census and they have the tools to be able to effectively respond and complete their questionnaire. So thank you so much for participating. Again, you can complete your census questionnaire today. It takes less than 10 minutes, my2020census.gov. You can call 1-844-330-2020 to complete it in English, or you can just simply send in your paper questionnaire by mail. You can also get continued updates about Fair Count and what we're doing across the state of Georgia and nationally at faircount.org. And we'll be making our second virtual bus tour stop this coming Friday in Baldwin County. It's another part of the state. We'll be crisscrossing the state for the next couple of months. Thank you again so much. Take care, and we hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.